All right, welcome to episode 3 of the Biscuit Banter podcast. I'm your host, Evan Davis, and my next guest is someone very special, spending 3 seasons with the Oakland Junior Grizzlies boys team, playing U15, U16, U18 seasons there, a member of the USA U18 World Championships, winning a silver and bronze medal, a 934 save percentage, and a 932 save percentage in those two World Championships, and also becoming the first woman to play in a junior men's hockey game in the United States, where she played for the Janesville Jets of the Knoll. Now currently a true freshman at Cornell University, where in 24 games she has a 177 goals against, a 927 save percentage, along with a 17-5-1 record and 3 shutouts. My God, can you have more accomplishments? Please welcome from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, goaltender Annelies Bergmann. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Good, awesome, awesome. So I just wanted to start off with, being a girl playing boys hockey, what is that environment like when you're starting at a young age?
Yeah, obviously, it's a lot different, and that's kind of a transition I've had to make here. But, growing up, there was never really in Buffalo like a girls program when we were that young. So everyone was kind of mixed together. I had older brothers who played, so would follow in their footsteps. And yeah, it was really, I saw no difference in me playing with them. If I was just as good and could keep up with them, my parents kept me in it. So no reason to change. And yeah, I loved it, the speed and everything. And obviously being with the boys, it can get silly at times and, everything. But overall, just super fun and loved it.
And we see a lot where like girls have issues integrating into boys hockey. There's just a lot, like the locker room culture is a big thing. So did you and your family have any issues with like other parents who were kind of just like, why is she playing?
Not really. I've always been lucky to be on teams that have been super supportive of me, being in the locker room. I made some really good friends, and you really get more integrated in the team if you're in the locker room. I think that's one way to help you stay in the game longer is because we actually got some great advice along the way, whether you're socially being able to be in the game, physically being able to game, and emotionally being in the game. And I think those are great components to look at. And parents have really been supportive of me, have always loved it, especially the moms, obviously. But yeah, just overall really lucky.
And so the Oakland Junior Grizzlies, they're in Michigan, right? If I'm not mistaken, or are they, that's where they are located in Michigan. So did you move to play junior hockey?
Yeah, so it's complicated, but I grew up in Buffalo. I played for a couple local teams around there, and then the Buffalo Junior Sabres, and then we moved to Cleveland, and I played on Penn's Elite, and then I moved to Detroit to eventually play for Bell Tire, and then Oakland for the longest time.
And are your parents moving with you? Like your whole family's moving, or are you staying with like billet families?
Yeah, so my family, we all made the move together to Michigan eventually, but for a while there, it was just me and my mom living in an apartment, driving back and forth from Cleveland, which was a little bit hard, just 3 hours back and forth. But yeah, then we eventually all moved to Michigan.
And how do you balance school with that? I know, like at a young age, like school is obviously something that comes first, trying to where you are at now. How do you balance that lifestyle?
Yeah, I was looking back on that today. I went to 4 different middle schools in 4 years. So it's obviously some tough transitions. But I was lucky enough to end up in Michigan in a great school district, where they really did prepare me and allowed me to graduate early to come here. Um, and yeah, it's tough, obviously, being at such a great institution to keep up with the schoolwork along the way. First semester was a little bit challenging, of course, but definitely finding my groove a little bit and my rhythm here. So it's fun.
And with your older brothers, are you kind of forced into play goalie and that's how you got into it? Or like where did that like passion start? Because I've always been curious to know, like most people want to score the goals, but you want to stop them.
Yeah, I think it's, and that's kind of where I got it from too, is, everyone wants to do one thing and I always want to do something different. Even if you see, most girls go off and play girl hockey, but I want to stick with the boys. So yeah, just finding my own path. And as soon as they rotate the goalies when you're that young in mites and strapped on the pads and then just loved it. I don't know really what I fell in love with. I don't remember, but I just wouldn't give the pads back and continue to play and loved it.
Yeah. So then you made that transition first female to play in the Knoll with the Janesville Jets. What was that experience like? And what are the conversations like leading up to that?
Yeah, so it was a pretty unreal experience as a whole. I got a call about a week beforehand from my agent saying, there's this opportunity. They would love to have you for this game. So I was able to go up there a week before and just get accumulated with the team and practice with them for a week before the actual game, which I think, helped tremendously. Um, and then obviously had to stay with the billet there. So, a fun experience. And the team was just super welcoming. I loved every second of it. And, the hockey was, of course, really good. There's a huge step, I think, from, obviously AAA to junior to, the higher level juniors you go, the harder. But yeah, just loved it.
Yeah, and I brought up the fact that you played USA World Junior Championships. What is that like being able to play for Team USA representing your country and then coming away with a medal?
Yeah. Just, I get goosebumps thinking about it. Just obviously a big Patriot, big USA fan. So every time you can put on the jersey is a special moment and you really want to savor it. Um, and, hopefully I get the chance to play for, the senior national team in the future. That's my goal. But um, yeah, every time you put on the jersey, you really want to take it in and like look around and realize what this really means. Obviously not the color medals we want to walk away with, and hopefully I get a
Yeah.
different color in the future.
Yeah.
But obviously super grateful to even medal at a world championship like that.
And when does it start to settle in where it's like, holy smokes, like I'm playing for Team USA right now? Like, is it when you look at the crest or when you get on the ice? Like, what is that? Holy smokes.
Yeah, I think it is putting on the jersey, because you look around and really all you see is, USA, and it's kind of a surreal moment. And you're really with all your best friends. You have such a special bond, you realize you've trained just as hard as every one of these girls to make it up to this moment. So it really is special.
And what are those friendships like once the tournament's done? You keep in touch with a lot of them, or is it just too hard with school now?
No, so yeah, a lot of well, there's some going to Cornell, which is nice. I'm keeping in touch with those ones, but
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of them, like Maggie Scannell, obviously a super good player, Josie St. Martin, we keep in touch. And it was actually really nice when I got the chance to play in the Knoll. A couple of the girls watched the game that I played with. So yeah, it's just awesome.
Yeah, so you mentioned you're at Cornell. Was there any other schools that you were like seriously considering? We know like Minnesota's another powerhouse that carries a lot of talent. Was there anywhere else, or did you also just want to go Ivy League?
Yeah, I think education was really important for me, especially because at that time there was no PWHL, which is amazing. But yeah, so looking the and my dad also went here. So, there's a little bit of a connection there. But I obviously committed super young. I was in seventh grade, so before the rules changed. But yeah, it was mainly Cornell. Every conversation that I had with coach was just I loved it. And then there's actually a photo of me when I was like 5 years old wearing a Cornell hockey shirt in front of the waterfalls here. So I think it was just meant to be, there's really no
Yeah.
place else I could have gone.
And you mentioned you committed in seventh grade, so was the coaching staff different now? And like, did if it did change, does that affect your decision?
So no, we still have the same head coach and assistant coach, Coach Edith. I love them. There was one other coach that did change, but obviously, I trust coach with everything. He hired a great Coach Crowley, love him. So yeah, it's been great that way.
And what is you mentioned balancing school and homework in middle school, high school. What is it like at Cornell? Because I mean, it's one of the best schools in the freaking country, and you're one of the best players in the freaking country.
Thank you. But yeah, honestly, this week was probably the toughest week just because we have February break next week. So I had a lot of exams. I had about four, but yeah, balancing school. Obviously, it's tough here just because the classes are a lot more difficult. And first semester, you kind of are getting your feet under you a little bit. Um, but second semester, it just feels like things are rolling. You get into a pattern of when you're doing school, how important your sleep schedule is. I was just talking about that today too. Just,
Yeah.
I think yeah, the main difference is sleeping 8 hours now instead of like five before. So.
Yeah, and just being at Cornell, is there like advisors that are with the team that are helping you kind of manage your like day-to-day life, especially when you first get to campus?
Um, yeah, there's not like it really depends on which school you go into. I'm lucky enough to be in ILR, which is a smaller school, so it feels more like a family. Kevin Harris really helped me when I got here just because I had to miss the first couple days. Um, but you really rely on your teammates here. I think it's a very like family oriented team. And the coach is always there for you. So even though we don't have any designated advisors, there's no lack of support or help around.
And I just want to ask, like, still sticking with this, what's the difference in workouts and on ice training like between when you're playing with the Oakland Junior Grizzlies and now playing at Cornell?
Yeah, obviously a huge step up just because it is D1. You're on the ice every day as opposed to where you might have been on the ice like 2 or 3 days a week. The workouts are a lot more intense. We are lucky enough to have our own trainer, Coach Dan. Um, Dane, sorry. He does amazing workout. He's gonna kill me for that one. Um, I love his workouts. I was with Ethos back in Michigan and my favorite gym. I just have to point them out, but
Yeah.
yeah, just a lot different because you do get that training incorporated here where you kind of have to reach out for it yourself. Back in Michigan when I was playing for Oakland, but yeah, and you have access to Coach Edith, who's our goalie coach. So yeah, you just have everything kind of at the tips of your fingers.
And is there anyone on the team that takes you under their wing, especially now being like a true freshman? Because we usually don't see like an 18-year-old start in NCAA, especially Division One.
Yeah, I would definitely have to say Gracie Dwyer. She's probably my best friend here. There's a lot of sophomores that have really greatly helped me. Um, but her being a fellow American, there's few Americans on the team, but we kind of have share that bond. And we're both, have the same goal of making the national team and Olympic team one day. So, we really just kind of stick together and it's been nice to have that.
Yeah, I was surprised by how many Canadians are on your team. Like it's almost more Canadians than there are Americans. We don't usually see that, at least with like men's Division One. Like all the guys play OHL,
Yeah.
WHL, whatever the junior leagues are. So what's that like, and what are the battles like during, World Junior time when you guys disperse to your countries?
Yeah, it's funny because I'm actually the only American in my class this year. But I did play against a couple of the girls that I lost the gold medal to, which is tough to say. When I came in thinking, it might be hard to be friends with them just because that's how I thought, having such a deep rivalry there. But honestly, it's you don't even think about it when you're here. Nobody wears, Team USA or Team Canada. It's just when you're here, it's Cornell. Obviously there's jokes here and there about it. I
Yeah.
might see some savor of like them winning the gold medal and say something, but no, it's great. And really everyone just, doesn't think about that.
And you mentioned the PWHL. This is the league that just started, came together in 6 months. And like me being in Toronto, we have PWHL Toronto. Crowds sold out, like games sold out before the season even started. What has this all been like for you, especially as a female hockey player, just seeing finally a professional league for women's hockey?
Yeah, obviously it's incredible just knowing that we have the potential to have a future after, college, because college hockey used to be the highest level you could play if you
Mhm.
didn't go onto the national team. But um, yeah, just to know that there's a league out there now that is generating those fans and generating a fan base, and then to eventually hopefully be able to play in it one day. The game that you love and you want to play every day, like it's your job, and now you can, is just it's unreal.
Yeah, and I've seen the success firsthand, at least in the city of Toronto, the way that they've just embraced this team. And I'm so upset that the games keep selling out because I really want to go to a game. But we see. I was going to ask: is there anything like the way? I'm sorry, not college, like the way that women's hockey is run that you would like to see changed? Because there's still like moving parts.
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say at least here too, just to focus on like I want well, just so people have their mind open to even start to watch women's hockey. And I think advertising is a huge part of it. So just to see like even the rivalry games, to see them advertised as much as you would see, NHL games. Because I think if people know that it's there, they will watch. And obviously we've seen that with the PWHL now. We've
Mhm.
created the league. Now people will like 19,000 people are going to come and watch a game. Like, so I think it's just getting it out there. And then, once people know, they will come.
Is there a team that you're like particularly watching? I believe doesn't Boston have a team? I know it's a little bit closer, or New York as well has a team.
Yeah, I actually will not root for a team unless they create one in Michigan. I think I have very strong opinions about professional and college hockey coming to Michigan. We have 7 D1 men's programs there, but not one women's program. So I think there's stuff like that that needs to change. And hopefully eventually when we get the college teams, a professional team, just to generate for those because we have great youth programs for girls like Little Caesars and Bell Tire. So to have those girls have other girls to look up to would be great.
Yeah, for sure. And like, is the eventual goal now for you to go PWHL route? I know like this just started, so maybe now the 5-year plan's changing a little bit.
Yeah, I think right now it's 5-year plan would probably be national team. If you if I really, put my hard work in, hopefully that it
Yeah.
would be that. But yeah, PWHL in the future, hopefully, and just hopefully it continues to grow.
All right, for sure. Well, I mean, that's all I got for you for today. I appreciate you coming on, answering some questions, and it's great to see you again. It's been a
Yeah,
bit.
you too. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, yeah, for sure. Take care.
Yeah, you too.